Hey, everybody. I put out a C-Realm Vault podcast yesterday in which I read a lot of the feedback, in fact, almost all of the feedback that I got in response to the recent video I did talking about student debt forgiveness. I'm not going to talk about it. That in this video, I only bring it up because that portion of yesterday's podcast ran long, and I didn't actually get around to talking about something I had planned to talk about on the podcast, which is the calamitous, catastrophous state of crypto right now. Bitcoin has closed in the red for the past 7 weeks. At the end of each week, I think on Sunday, there is a new candle added to the long-term charts. It's a weekly. A candle is just an indication of how Bitcoin did over the week. And if it closes the week higher than it started, then the candle is green. And if it closes the week lower than it started, then the candle is red. It has had 7 consecutive red candles. That is the worst in its entire history. So things are bad for Bitcoin right now. Things are bad for crypto in general right now, largely because, when Bitcoin catches a cold, everybody else gets pneumonia. But it wasn't Bitcoin's fault exactly. I mean, not that Bitcoin is an entity that you can assign fault to, but really it was the Terra Luna stablecoin, which somebody found an exploit, a way to, buy it for 98 cents and sell it for $1. And that's a simplification, and I'm really not qualified to give you a technical breakdown of how the Terra Luna exploit, how it was affected. If there's a loophole like that, it's going to get exploited, and in the 21st century, it's going to get exploited at algorithmic speed. Not that algorithmic speed is a thing, because you can run algorithms, with water-driven clockwork parts, and it'll move pretty slowly. So really at electronic speed, I guess is what I mean. But I'm, I don't even feel the need to say I'm not a financial advisor. Clearly, I'm not a financial advisor. Here I am sitting in this old pickup truck, which isn't even mine, in Arkansas, in rural Arkansas, living at the house that really, it's the house I've known the longest, because I moved around a lot as a kid, but we always came to Arkansas in the summer, and this was my grandparents' house. And now it's my mother's house. And that's the house I live in. There's, for people who have been into crypto for 5, 6, 8 years, yeah, they recognize intellectually that this is a big, important event, but it doesn't really bother them so much. They've still made enormous gains, if they put in a lot a few years back. But most people in crypto just got into it. And so, provided they didn't sell at a loss, their portfolios are less than they put into them, just recently. And I'm in that category in terms of how much money I have in crypto. But I've been in crypto since, I don't know, 2009, 10. I mean, when I started taking donations to the podcast, the C-Realm podcast, in crypto pretty early on. And I remember somebody sent me 5 Bitcoin. And at the time, the price was so low that it wasn't, getting a wallet to transfer this to, or, opening an account to transfer it to, just didn't even rise to the top of my to-do list. And those 5 Bitcoin just sort of disappeared. But then over the coming next few years, I got another, 6, 8 Bitcoin total in donations, which, were not big donations at the time. And in 2016, when Bitcoin was around, between $500, $600 per Bitcoin, I sold, I think, four Bitcoin, maybe a little bit more than that, to buy a nice laptop computer. Okay, so Bitcoin is down, catastrophically down to $30,000 per coin right now. So, 4 of those, that would have been $120,000 for that computer. It's a nice computer, but it's not that nice. I sold almost the last of my Bitcoin. Like, I cashed out like 1 Bitcoin in 2017, just before Bitcoin did its meteoric rise. Bitcoin started 2017 around $900, and it hit 19,000, almost 20,000 late in the year. And I bought a pickup truck, and I cashed out a Bitcoin to buy it just before that huge run up to nearly $20,000. Now, after Bitcoin hit $20,000, it fell way back down to like 2,000. I should have checked before I started the video, but it fell way, way down. In terms of percentage of its value lost, it did way, way worse than it has just done in the last half year. Last November, it was around 65,000 almost, and now it's around 30,000, lost more than half its value. Well, by 2017, 2018 standards, that's not much of a loss. But again, the point that I want to get to, I don't want to get lost in the details here, is that people who have been in Bitcoin or in crypto in general for a long time, for them, they're taking a long view. This is a bummer, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas if you got in a year ago, if you got in at the last, just before, the last growth, or even worse, if you got in at the top, like last fall, and you put a lot of your money into either Bitcoin or worse, you had it all in Terra Luna because they were paying like 20% interest, and now it's worth nothing. There are forums discussing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and such on Reddit and other places where at the top right now they have, a pinned notice. If you're feeling suicidal, please call this number. Please get help. Please contact somebody, because there are people who think their lives are over because, they just lost a lot of money. And if you lost it, if you had all your money in Terra, UST, it's probably not coming back. It's probably just gone. If you had all your money in Bitcoin, well, you've lost a little bit more than half of it, but, don't sell at a loss. Come on. It's coming back. I get, I've been talking about Bitcoin and blockchain, more about blockchain since, for the past 10 years or more. There have been people who are not Bitcoin evangelists, but blockchain evangelists, talking about how, new, novel, useful applications of blockchain technology are going to revolutionize all manner of, aspects of our lives. And thus far, it just doesn't seem to have panned out. I mean, the big killer app thus far seems to be NFTs, which is to say, inscribed in the blockchain is the fact that you are somehow the owner of this image, even though you don't have exclusive rights to view it. You can't prevent other people from viewing it. You can't prevent people from screenshotting it and propagating it all over the place. But, you can get a little token next to your Twitter bio saying that you own the NFT. I mean, that's the killer app so far as I can tell. I mean, I'm sure there's loads of people out there. They're probably not watching this video, but they work at companies that have developed some novel application for the blockchain, like, tracking inventory through a supply chain, things like that. That they swear they are convinced this is still going to change the world. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't have a strong opinion on it, and I don't care all that much. What I care about is it's people's point of view. It's the worldview that we're living in and that we're pitting against other people's worldviews on social media and whatnot. So I get emails from time to time. I'm thinking of one I got recently, and I apologize, I don't remember who it's from. I just remember the content. And somebody, said, hey, look, people got rich off the tulip craze in the Netherlands. But still, it was a bubble. It was a Ponzi. It was always, going to crash. There was never any substantial reason to take it seriously, even though, some people did make a lot of money from it. Well, that got me thinking, how long did the tulip craze last before it crashed? Do you have a guess? Or do you know? It was 3 years. Bitcoin was rolled out in 2008 as a response to the financial collapse of 2008. It wasn't a collapse, but, it was a catastrophe. And the president, George W. Bush, at the time said this sucker could go down, talking about the whole economy. So, 2008 to 2022, going on 14 years, that Bitcoin has been doing its thing. And, if you are convinced that Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme, that it has no value whatsoever, that it is just pure evil from the ground up, then you're probably convinced this is it. It's never coming back from this crash, but it's not at zero. It's at 30,000. 30,000 a couple years ago would have been, utopian. If you had told people, if you had told the doubters 2-3 years ago, hey, I'm from the year 2022 and everything's going to shit and Bitcoin's worth $30,000 a coin, those statements wouldn't compute. It's like, how can everything be going to shit if it's worth that much? And it's like, well, yeah, that's, Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin is in no way an indicator of the health of the larger economy. You could even argue that it's the reverse, that it's an inverse measure of the health of the economy. The more that Bitcoin is worth, the more that the speculative portion of the economy is going insane at the expense of, the real economy of people providing services and goods that are tangible. So, the whole Bitcoin tulip mania thing, that comparison, from my perspective, it just doesn't really hold. The tulip mania was a flash in the pan, lasted 3 years, then people came to their senses and thought, what the heck are we doing? And there was the opening of I think an auction for rare tulip bulbs, and the auctioneer started the price off at, what was expected, given the last 3 years, and there were just no bids, and they kept lowering the price, and everybody's looking around at each other, and I think I could just imagine, the dawning realization in the room of, oh shit, that's it, it's over. For a lot of people, if you put your life savings into UST so that you could get 20% interest on it, yeah, this is the end of the world, man. I'm not saying it was a stupid thing for you to do. I mean, clearly in hindsight, you shouldn't have done it. Clearly. But at the same time, whatever little money has come my way the past year or so, I've been putting into crypto, and I would have been better off putting it, in a pillowcase. It's just, even with inflation, we haven't had 50% inflation over the last year. So that's a bummer. But from my own perspective, again, most of my money is new to crypto. The most of the money that I have in crypto right now hasn't been there very long. But I personally have been in crypto for long enough that I recognize that, what's his name? Balaji Srinivasan is totally right when he says, if you look at the dollar, or really any fiat currency, it loses almost all of its value over time, but it's very stable from day to day. Whereas crypto, particularly Bitcoin, is increasing in value dramatically, from the macro view, but from day to day, week to week, month to month, it, is incredibly volatile. So if you are looking to store your money someplace short term, under the mattress or just in your frickin' wallet is better than putting it into Bitcoin. But, and this is something I'm stealing from Lark Davis, who's a YouTuber crypto guy. Cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin is a mechanism from taking money from the inpatient and transferring it to the patient. So be patient. All right, I've been jabbering for about 15 minutes, and I guess I'll stop. But if you are motivated to start typing right now, and you have either a pro-crypto or anti-crypto position that you're going to articulate, but it's not new to you. It's something you've said before. Not necessarily to me, necessarily. Not necessarily, to me, necessarily. But, it's a rehearsed, reflexive response. Don't type that. Or, type it in an email and send it to yourself. But if anything that I have said to you has caused you to have a different thought than you had before, and I'm not trying to convince you that you should put any money into Bitcoin or any sort of cryptocurrency. And I'm not trying to convince you that blockchain is going to save the world, because as far as I'm concerned, I've been looking for it to do just that for, since around 2014, 2015. That's how long I've been asking people, who present themselves as knowledgeable on the topic, when is the miraculous power of the blockchain going to transform our lives, and how? And I've gotten a variety of answers that they haven't stuck. I can't reproduce them from memory because they haven't materialized in the real world. All I can see is the NFT craze. And man, if I could go back in time, what a cryptic message to get from your future self. Buy as many Bored Ape NFTs as possible. All right, I'm going to go. Type your messages, be creative, be thoughtful, and be well. And, if you did lose a lot of money, I don't think anybody watching this lost their life savings, but, take a deep breath and understand the value of your life and the relative value of money. All right, I'm out.